So just, a quick reminder of current events, right now that, we're talking about all this stuff, all these cool ways to cook. And I'm constantly talking about survival, all right? Sometimes let's, really look how it would apply on a daily basis. Right now, with the snowstorms on the East Coast, in one little area, okay, we just got an email from a friend of ours, and in her town, 92% of the people are out of power for the next week. Over 1 million people, all right? She's quoting that this is a war zone. Where we're living right now is a war zone. And that simply means that when you pull out of your driveway, there's, all the trees, the problem, folks, is that all the trees still had all the leaves on them, okay? And this massive storm came in. And imagine that every major branch on a tree over the next 20 miles snapped and fell down onto the roads, homes, backyards, stores, everything. That's why it looks like a war zone. You're not going to drive through that. You're not going to go to work in that. Unless you've got a four-wheel drive, it's freezing temperatures, you're going to have to stay home until the big plows get there and start clearing the roadways first. They've got to move all the debris out in order for people to travel, and that still hasn't happened. So what's going to happen for you in this 1 week period? What happened for me a year ago in 14 inches of snow in that massive storm? Well, who cares? I have all this stuff. So, how are you going to eat? How are you going to keep yourself warm? How are you going to light your home? Okay, all these little things that we talk about, which are so important to this online survival training, is you preparing for the big snowstorm, you preparing for, the windstorm and branches coming down and hitting a transformer and blowing out your entire block, all right? That's why all this is important, is your ability that in a crisis situation, you can still provide, all right, warm food for your family, sanitation. I was just talking with a professional in another industry, and it was fascinating that he said if you took away soap from the world based upon, he studies history, okay, for the last 2,000 years, that's his thing. If you take away soap and water, all right, the cataclysmic event that would happen of just the oral hygiene, the body hygiene, the disease, in just months you would just wipe out. I mean, the population would just be severely just wiped out just from soap, all right? And that is, are you going to keep good hygiene in freezing cold water? No. You need to have stoves to heat water so you can take sponge baths and keep your hands clean, all right? All this adds up, your ability, to have this in storage and to go 1 week off-grid instantly. With comfort, and then maybe helping your neighbors too in the process. Okay, that's an important thing. We do have an obligation there in these crises to help our friends and family. And if you're the only whack job that they call you around dinner at Thanksgiving, well, he's crazy because he's a survivalist. It's amazing that when something goes wrong, all of a sudden you're the hero because you were the one who planned and thought ahead. So it's just not about, Armageddon. It's about everyday life, being prepared. And I just can't emphasize enough that I do not want you out on the streets in the blizzard, out on the streets, in any type of event where people are going crazy because they don't have water, heat, food, all those things required, warm shelter. You gotta have warm shelter. I mean, what are they doing? It's below freezing, morning, noon, and night. Portable heaters, catalytic heaters for these are important items also. So just a few thoughts about current events that are happening right now in the United States and why all this is important in survival situations and just in everyday life. I also would like to just say one more thing that we've talked about several times. Every 3 months, if you're in an urban setting, you have to shut everything off. Remember, I want you to have your wrenches on your gas. I want you to shut everything off, and that way you're testing all this. All right. I found out, the other week that my lantern, my mantle was bad. All right. So that's because we were doing just that. All right. We were out here and we just shut it down and we started testing everything that we're putting into the new root cellar. So every 3 months, shut everything you have and break out your goodies and use them. All right, so it's not a stressor. When it happens, you know it works. Everybody knows how to use it. Boom, it's a done deal. All right, every 3 months you got to do that, and it'll be a great family night. It'll probably turn into one of your favorite family nights, and you can do it once a month. You know, I'm just saying as a minimum, every 3 months, shut everything down and get your tools out and survive that night so it's not a stressor for you. All right, so I'm Doug with Sierra Survival, and we'll see you next month.